How's the weather there in Manhattan right now? Is it bad or?
It's humidity.
Yeah, it's humid.
Just humidity.
But at least at night you get crazy thunderstorms. That's nice. There's no variation to it here. It's just one unchanging doom wave.
Yeah, of hotness. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just say this is part of it. It's us roasting New York and the LA weather. Pat Oswalt, back on the show. Thank you so much. We haven't talked to you since I think during like the pandemic.
So we were just saying,
yeah. How's it going?
Relatively, it's going better than when you last talked to me because we were all losing our fucking minds. I'm able to walk outside my house and talk to people and look at their faces while I talk to them. That's a huge bonus. Yeah, things are good. I can't complain. I'm pretty happy right now.
You have a Netflix. We have a lot to talk about. Mostly nerd stuff. I just want to throw that out there.
Sure.
Mostly nerd stuff. But you have a new Netflix special. We All Scream. September 20th. Ken Jack has a very important question for you.
Yeah, it is huge. Just tell us your best joke from the special. No content. Like don't even give us the setup. Just the punchline. Actually, just say like the three.
Okay.
Give no emotion either. We like read it off like it's just a fact, not even a joke.
Bona fide fact.
All right, hang on. Let me give you my best punchline. 1 second, I will absolutely do that.
This is good though.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you the kind of left-wing soy boy that needs a sneeze guard over your clam chowder, or are you able to fuck your wife?
Beautiful. See, and now this is perfect because you make people reverse engineer. They're like, I want to know how this happened.
How the fuck does he get there?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, tell us. So special. I mean, it's like tell us about the project. You're doing comedy. Anything different from this than any of your other specials? Your many specials of the year. Was this done in Denver? I do believe.
Shot it in Denver in May. The two big different things. One is like every special, it's an hour of brand new material, but this one I directed. Mm-hmm. This is the first one that I directed myself. So I, mapped out what the camera angles that I wanted, how I wanted it to look, the music, the editing. There was a certain way that I wanted it to look and sound, because I don't want to be one of these comedians that I'm 53 years old. There's nothing sadder than when people start rolling into their 50s, but they still try to cling to their early 20s. And so I very openly embrace that. No, I'm a falling apart 53-year-old motherfucker. And this is what my perspective is. And all of everyone who has followed me since whatever my first album is, if you were that same age, then this is what you're going through now. And please stop squeezing into the Too Small Pixies t-shirt and try to act like, you're still battling the man. You're the fucking man now. Just own it.
Do you like the specials being on Netflix? Because I will say this. I owned all of your old albums on iTunes. My favorite one, which it was, I don't want to get the name wrong, so I'm going to describe it so I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. It's you as a cartoon eating your face.
That is Werewolves and Lollipops.
I knew it was Werewolves and Lollipops. I didn't think I was going to pull. Do you like the Netflix model, or do you kind of miss like the CD, the track,
the record comedy album like Richard Pryor?
Well, look, obviously, and this is just nostalgia speaking, I totally miss when you waited for a new comedy album to come out.
Mm-hmm.
But also just know that there were comedians that before comedy albums became the thing that I missed when you debuted your new act in the Catskills, this album thing. I don't like it. So I never want to be the guy like, this is where it should freeze it this year. Unfortunately, the new model, not even unfortunately, now the model is you stream it, you can put it out on YouTube, you can put it out on any other platform. But what's good about Netflix is I'm very open with them about how I want to put out a vinyl right when the special comes out. And they allow me to do that every time. And they let me do it with a smaller label, where I can hire my own artists and design it the way I look like. Cause I want that vinyl. I want that vinyl. And now there's a company, there are 3 of my specials that aren't out on vinyl. They've now said that they're going to, next year, I'll put out 3 new, not new, but specials that have not been on vinyl yet out next year. Cause I love that. I just love that.
Big question. Worst city and best city for stand-up?
Yeah, that's actually, I'm curious. I'm just like in my brain, I think like anywhere in Utah would be bad for stand-up.
You did
just something in my head says that.
The werewolf one was recorded in Austin. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
I'm from Austin, so that was partly why I loved it. I am from Austin.
They seem like a good crowd.
Yeah, Austin. It felt like a cheat recording it in Austin. Austin is one of those cities like Portland, Oregon, Asheville, North Carolina, Athens, Georgia, that the audiences are so friggin' good. That's one of those things where if you don't have a good set, you need to really look at yourself in the mirror and go, if I can't sell the Glengarry leads, maybe I shouldn't be in the real estate business. The hardest for me so far, the hardest cities that have for me to do stand up have been in were Aspen, Colorado, when I was at the HBO Aspen Comedy Fest, because it was all coked out billionaire, self-satisfied mountain liberals that just were, and even if you did good, the laughs you got were like, oh,
like an observational, like,
oh, that's, and then also, sometimes Las Vegas can be a real nightmare, because what you have to realize is you're not the main reason they're there. You were probably given away. Your tickets were part of a package that they bought, and they're squeezing you in between some crazy steak buffet that started at 5:00, and then they've been promised this many chips starting at 10:00. So you're just, you're a thing they're trying to get out of the way to go do the stuff they want to do.
That's definitely the lowest percentage of locals too that you get at any show. It's that all people are out of town.
Yes, there's no fucking. You're right. There's no one who lives in Vegas wants to go to a fucking
to actual Las Vegas.
And even if it's, by the way, I bet even if it's a comedian or a band that they like, they're like, oh, I like them. I don't want to see them in that setting though.
Yeah,
I don't want to see them in front of a bunch of a tour group from Yonkers that are all just staring at him. Isn't he on TV? I thought they said he was a TV star. It's really weird. Yeah, Vegas can be really rough.
I'll just drive over to Red Rocks and watch him instead. I'm not going to watch him here in Vegas or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you have a best overall heckler story from just years of stand-up?
I have a very weird one. You'll appreciate this. When we used to do Conan back in the day in New York, the night before you did your set, you went out with the producers to the Cellar or Stand Up New York, and you ran the 7 minutes. They just wanted to see it for timing. They didn't care about the content. They knew that it was going to work. They just wanted to time it. And that's how they did it. So I go up to the Comedy Cellar and they go, we don't care about the crowd. Just do your act. We just need to time it. So I went up and I was doing my act, and there was a table of women in the front row, and they're talking to each other, but really loud, just about their day. The whole room could hear it. They're not saying like, you suck. They're just talking to each other. And I was like, just running my set, just doing it for time, going to ignore them, not going to acknowledge the crowd. And then halfway through my set, one of the women at the table just banged her hands on the table and went, you're not even listening to us. And it threw me. And I was like, yes, I'm not listening. Wait a minute. Was I supposed and I kind of didn't recover, and I had to go and then sit down with the producers and go, can we go to Stand Up New York or something? I'm really, because they were, then it made them doubt that if the set was going to work. I'm like, no. She threw me. Do you understand what a weird heckle that is? When someone goes, you're not listening to me while you're on stage doing stand up.
It's like she was the one delivering the stand up. Yeah, that's crazy.
It reminds me, you know what it reminded me of? I have a friend who's a bouncer, and he said that whenever there was a drunk trying to start a fight, one way you could get an advantage in a fight is ask them some weird random question. Like, where's your wristwatch? Because then they'll it doesn't need to make any sense, but it'll stop them for a second, and then you can get a punch in. And that felt like a version of what she did that to me. She asked me such a nonsensical question. I didn't have a comeback for it.
She's not even drunk. She's just that smart. She's the smartest heckler alive.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you listen to this? It was such a psyop, and I wasn't ready for it.
So I actually just watched this recently. I did my yearly, I'm going to watch every roast Greg Giraldo ever was in.
Those compilations they put together.
Amazing.
I'll do that every couple of months too, there's certain things like I'll watch compilations of Gale Sayers running or Greg Giraldo doing roast. Just like watching people at the top of their game doing something, it pumps you up.
I repeat it every time I bring it up. I have to say it was the roast of Cheech and Chong, and it was Ralphie May, also Ralphie rest May. In peace. He said Ralphie May, like, you're so fat. He made that joke, the setup, and then he said, you're the only guy who comes when the guy you're the only guy when you watch porn, you come when the guy delivers the pizza.
Yeah,
and it just that is
he was the best.
I think it's my favorite roast joke of all time.
He was the best, man.
But he was at the Flavor Flav roast, and you were at the Flavor Flav roast as well.
Yes.
Some of the best roast. I mean, that was a crazy. Kimball had a crazy one.
When the audience was women started heckling him, he's like, "Did the whores say something?"
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He's like, "Where was I? Before I was interrupted by those whores." Yeah. That was a craady one. And also going back and watching those is like you hear a couple of the references and you're like, "Holy shit, this was that long ago."
Yeah.
Like Michael Vick had just become like that
arrested.
happened.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, there are those weird. I mean, again. That's the thing too about comedy, and a lot of people that I think people they're inflating two things that don't deserve to be inflated. They're inflating wokeness and canceling. Both of those things have always been around in terms of comedy, because comedy has the shortest shelf life of any art form. Mm-hmm. And you have to know that going in. And people that are like, this joke I did, look, there are jokes that I did on my first album that would end my career today. Mm-hmm. And luckily I can just go, it was 2003. I didn't know any better. It's 20 years down the road. I now know better. But you can't rely on, you can't just go, this Michael Vick joke worked, I'm going to do it forever. No, you have to keep doing new stuff and rolling with it. It constantly changes. But I also love when they have stuff like that, because then it makes it this cool little time capsule. Like, oh, that's what people were thinking about then. It's this cool little historical document. It gives you perspective.
I actually kind of like the idea of you going on a set now and just being, oh, you hear about this Michael Vick guy? It would get a laugh out of me. It would get a laugh out of me for sure.
Everybody, every now and then, I don't know if you run into it. You'll hear a guy who'll make like a Clinton Lewinsky joke or like a George Bush impression. You're like, wait, what the?
Yeah. What that wakes you up. It sobers you in the middle of a set for sure.
Yeah, there's a great comedian named Mark Cohen who always he makes fun of hacky comedy in his act. Mm-hmm. So whenever he does a joke that doesn't work, he'll just go, "So Quayle's an idiot." That's going to get the crowd back.
You guys hear about this Dukakis fellow?
Hard every time because he's just grabbing at straws at that point.
Oh, that's brilliant.
You last thing on that.
I think comedy is such a speaking of history, it's such a great way. If you're showing a moment in history, you should cut to footage of comedians at that time doing joke oh, that's how the public thought about shit like this. Mm-hmm. This is how it impacted people, the general population. That's always really cool to see that.
We should go back in time and just watch ourselves laughing at, you might be a redneck if, and just crying laughing at Jeff Foxworthy.
How hard
I've opened for Jeff Foxworthy. Some of
his crowds must.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
Is so funny though. The stuff about when he was talking about, he did the whole "you might be redneck." He also did a great thing about the redneck accent. You don't expect it to say certain phrases. Mm-hmm. When he was talking about that, you don't expect it to go "checkmate."
Yeah,
like that. It's really funny.
When you're doing those roasts, though, how hard is it to figure out the right amount of roast for the dais, but also the person who's being roasted? Is there a rhyme or reason to that, or just shit? I don't got any jokes for Snoop Dogg here, but I got a ton for Lisa Lampanelle. Is that tough?
Yeah, I mean, what I do is I did the roast of Jerry Stiller, that very first roast, and it was the second roast actually. First roast was of Drew Carey. I got invited on the Jerry, and I had that hubris of I'll write my own stuff. I'll write all my own jokes. And I can do it the day before. I'm brilliant. And I was terrible. And they cut me out of the roast. I'm not in the roast. People make fun of me, but you don't see my set because my set bombed. So then when I got invited back later to do the William Shatner roast, they were like, we have writers here that have jokes for you. If you want to call, I called up my friends. I'm like, here's what I'm doing. Give me stuff. I worked on stuff. The day of, I had Doug Benson came over. My brother came over. We went over stuff. We also went over contingencies for these are the people on the dais. We've got these 3 jokes for these people. But I bet there'll be a joke similar to this because you're going on 5th and this is really good real estate. So let's have some, like, you really, really got to prepare. You've got to be ready. And I structured again, Geraldo is a genius at this. He makes his way around the dais and then lands on the roastee. Although on the Joan Rivers roast, he has that brilliant fake out. He goes, and finally, we come to annoying Jewish lady, Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah. Oh God, he
did that. Tom Arnold's at the Cheech and Chong one and the Joan Rivers, and his Tom Arnold roasts were always a little like there was a little venom to him too. Like it was a little extra pop to him.
One of my favorite Greg Giraldo moments, and this is again, it's a real moment on the Larry the Cable Guy roast, and he's great on it, and he's making all these great jokes. But then there's that one moment where he kind of the mask flips, and he goes, "Why are you so popular?" Like he starts screaming because he is like comedy is changing in a way that I don't know if I can survive if this is what it's going to be now.
Yeah,
it's such a real moment. Even Larry the Cable Guy is laughing. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know why either. Look, I'm a billionaire. It's not my fault."
Yeah, there must have been like a point too for like guys like that when you see all these kids like we were doing the super finger for Dane Cook. We were like reciting everything he did line for line. It's like, is this where we got to go? I guess.
Well, but the thing is, yes and no. I think that what you have got to figure out who it is that you are, and also know that no one stays on top forever, but also no one stays on the bottom forever. It's cyclical. I mean, if you see what's going on with Brendan Fraser right now, people are like, "Oh, that career is totally over," and now people are realizing, "Oh no, he was actually always good. Things just got changed for a while." But now we're seeing same with like Michael Keaton was. Gone for a decade, and now he's the go-to actor. So endurance, oh my God, I can't believe I'm quoting Charles Bukowski, but endurance is more important than truth. It is a long, long slog, and try to have fun while you're doing it. So that's the key. I remember, by the way, I got really defensive about Dane Cook because I remember reading articles about him where after he did Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
3 sellout nights in a row. And then like a year later, he was doing Caesar's Palace 4 nights in a row, sold out. That's fucking hard to do. But every article I read was like, wow, looks like Dane Cook's on the way down. It's like, no, hang on. Do you think he was just going to do Madison Square Garden for the rest of his career?
The new Joel,
he's not. This is not a down. Selling out the Caesar's Palace 4 nights in a row is not a downward spiral. He's doing fine. What the fuck are you talking about?
Like Harry Styles was like had to do that, and there was a struggle in the Madison Square Garden this last like couple weeks. Like in comedy, it's like a totally different game than that. That's insane.
Exactly. So yeah, enjoy your highs, but never think that, and it'll stay this way forever. No, it never does. It never does. Just like doing comedy.
I love how you mentioned there's 2 big guys in our podcast lore, in Brendan Fraser, Michael Keaton. Both of them, we dubbed it the Catanisance, and we dubbed it the Renaissance. We said too. So we said like for years we've been pushing like, hey, like we talked a lot about the other guys, which Michael Keaton was brilliant in. We're like, look at it, he's amazing. He's gonna be so good. Like, he's coming back, and he did. And now we've been doing that with Brendan Fraser forever. I remember one of our first things as a podcast was we made a massive petition to try and get Brendan Fraser cast in The Last Jedi. That was like one of our first big moments. We just tried to get him cast.
Wow. He actually would have been great in that.
Yeah. And then what happened? He came in and we were just like gushing over him.
Yeah, he came into our old office here, and we got to talk to him. Yeah.
We were like gushing over him, and I think he thought it was like a bit or something because he was like a little like on guard, and by the end of it, he's like hugging us, he's like tearing up a little bit, and now fucking a couple years later, he's winning awards at TIFF.
He had to endure a lot of snarkiness, so I bet that's why he was on the defensive. Yeah. Because his hackles were up after all that shit. I remember I did rewrites on Looney Tunes Back in Action. And all I can remember is the animators going, that dude was game for anything. Anything we pitch, he's like, let's try it. Like, they were so happy to get to work with him. And also, like, you can't believe what a nice guy he is. Like, genuinely brilliant, great comedic timing. And we would come up with the weirdest ideas. He'd be like, absolutely, let's do that. Let's do it. Like, it was just great. So
I love
fantastic. Yeah.
He's the best. We do want to get a couple questions in on some other stuff, including the fact that we haven't talked to you since the Boba Fett episode where your exact thing came to pass. And we had talked about it with you, I think, last time, right? Didn't we mention your idea for Boba Fett? And I think it came to pass.
Yeah, and I got I texted with Favreau after that episode, and he said they timed it so you can. People on TikTok were doing this. It matches up perfectly with the beginning of my speech. Yeah. We start in the Twin Sons of Tatooine, and then it pans down, and it matches up with, and then his gauntlet comes up and comes down, and it actually they shot it so that it matched up. So that was very flattering.
Did you watch the night it dropped, or did you just see on social media people were? I imagine immediately were tagging you and being like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I was going to watch it that night, and of course it drops during the day. So all during the day, suddenly, tag, Instagram, Twitter. I'm like, oh God. So I was real, but I didn't bother Favreau till the next day because I knew that he was going to be, the nerds going to be going crazy. But yeah, he confirmed it for me, so that felt really good.
That's so cool. I absolutely love that. Another question we have, obviously after D23, people have questions about everything. What's your Fantastic Four dream fan cast right now?
Dream cast for Fantastic Four. Okay. Reed Richards is John Hamm.
Oh, okay.
John Hamm is Reed Richards. You know who would have been an amazing thing and like they CGI the Hulk. Unfortunately, he's passed away. Could you imagine if James Gandolfini, that voice, and
oh my God, yeah,
Ben Grimm? How amazing would that have been?
Yeah, damn, that would have been really good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that whoever plays the thing should be in real life a giant. They should be fit, but not a crazy muscle man. It's the idea of someone who is now suddenly. That's why Mark Ruffalo works so well as the Hulk. He doesn't. Ben Grimm wasn't a cut guy. He was a bruiser, but he wasn't a cut guy. So I don't really know. God, Ben Grimm. Let me come back to Ben Grimm.
Let's get Chiklis back.
Yeah, I mean, Chiklis is good. God. Invisible Woman, that new actress, Britt Lauer from Severance.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Because she's got that, looks like she has cosmic intelligence. Mm-hmm. Like she might actually be maybe on a level above, someone else. Maybe she's in touch with other things. And then the thing about the key to Johnny Storm to me is he's chaotic good. He's an asshole with a heart of gold. So the closest thing I can think of for Johnny Storm, I don't know. You see that viral video of that OnlyFans porn guy who paid off his sister's college debt with his OnlyFans money?
For a minute, I thought we were going to talk about my coworkers. I don't think this guy.
He's like, it's chaotic good. He's a weirdo. He's like, here's 10 grand in cash. I earned it with my dick. I'm going to give it to my sister to pay off her college debt. And he kicks in her bedroom door and throws it at her. Like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, that's $10,000. That pays off your debt. And then she hugs him. She goes, thank you, but this is really weird. Like she doesn't know how to handle him.
I mean, just looking at his face, you are completely right. I'm just looking at his face now. That is a Johnny Storm.
Exactly, because he's an asshole, but he's good. You know what I mean? He's a good guy. He just also can't help blurting out and saying stupid things.
Yeah,
that might be the definition of chaotic good. Yes. Yeah, like making money on OnlyFans. Yeah,
yeah, and that's the thing about they've tried to make Johnny Storm and the other versions kind of virtuous, and Johnny Storm has to kind of be not the wild card in the group, but of all the people who don't deserve cosmic powers, he has it. That's the idea, and then he has to slowly learn to not be such an asshole about it.
Yeah, I feel like Deadpool's not a fantastic comp, but that sort of chaotic asshole energy. Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. It's an asshole who's trying to do good. He's like, can't I do good but still be an asshole? Is there a way to do both? And there's something really entertaining about that.
Yeah.
We have one more thing before our final little rapid fire question segment. You had a tweet a while back. I didn't bring this up last time we talked, but someone reminded me of it the other day, and I was like, I think that was Patton Oswalt. You had tweeted about this. It was the glassware from McDonald's when Batman Forever came out, which if you're old enough to remember that, iconic iconic fast food giveaway. Do you have any other, for me, like anything Godzilla?
Oh yeah.
Godzilla at all, like Taco Bell and KFC. Those always ring a bell. But other than the glassware, did you, what are some other, like, did you have any other like crazy movie marketing thing? My personal favorite, I will say, we have a Rubik's Cube for the show The Slap on NBC.
I have
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Does it have all the character spaces on it?
Can you go grab it?
Yeah.
We'll show it. We'll have to show it to you. Yeah. Do you have any really wacky movie memorabilia?
I have. Someone just sent me a coffee table book of all these movie giveaways through the years, and some of them are just bizarre. And you can also tell the movies where they're like, because it's stuff that comes in press kit.
Was it the night of movie promoting thing they did with like A24 or something? I think I saw them do that.
It might have been. Yes, it is an A24 book.
Yeah. I
could run, but what I love is you can tell the ones where they just didn't believe in the movie. They're like, it's the name of the movie on a pencil.
Yeah.
Here, we just put it on a pencil. Like basically what you would do like for a high school class giveaway sale. Like they didn't care. But some of them are gorgeous. Like the one for Being John Malkovich, it's a bunch of nesting dolls so it's John Malkovich and then it's Cusack and then they're really beautifully done.
Here you go. Here's the slap cube. Yeah.
Wait, show them the other side.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, you got the peacock. Yeah.
The Reddit for our podcast. They Brian Cox is on there. Zachary Quinto. They were like, Jeff, we tried to buy it for you. Somebody bought it, and I went, it was me.
Yeah.
I bought the Rubik's Cube.
God, that's fantastic. I mean, I remember I always am blown away by the weird giveaway toys that are way better than they need to be. That's why those Batman Forever cups are so iconic, because you're like, they really put design work into these. Like, and they're solid. My God, these are great. Speaking of Batman, the original Happy Meal toys for the Batman the Animated Series are all amazing. Really, actually well-designed mini toys that people now collect and get big. They're better than like most action figures that are put out. And these are like literally throwaway toys in a Happy Meal.
They just used to be so much better. I mean, I am rarely in a McDonald's, but when I go, I will always look like, what's the toy? I'm like, these aren't what they used to be. These aren't. They don't have the craftsmanship.
There were some ones a few years ago for the Avengers, and they all had these weird, keen painting eyes. Their eyes were way too big.
Yeah.
And that you could tell that they had like outsourced it to some either like a Chinese company or a Polish manufacturing company, and they had just given them verbal descriptions of what these characters were, but they looked nothing like. It was so slapped together and bad.
That reminds me, there's a great bit in Parks and Rec, which obviously you're on, where she wants to get her campaign posters printed, and she sends them the file in a JPEG, and they just print the entire file name .jpeg onto a flyer.
I remember that.
Yeah, that is very much like that. I think the best promoting thing I got was we interviewed the director of The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. They sent us a duffel bag with a really nice robe, slippers, a book, a duffel bag, which I use, by the way. It's a great duffel bag. It's just weird because I have to walk around with a duffel bag that says The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard 2 or whatever on it. And it's just, books, all this weird shit, a lot of stuff. So you regularly get the press kits with all the weirdness in it, and not super regularly.
Not a ton, but when we get them, they are like
massive.
Actually, I funny enough, I have two of my nice pens are sitting in a glass like flask Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing that I have on my desk.
Cool ass flask.
So there's
Agent Kennedy and Agent Lowe on them. Those are awesome. Oh, WandaVision sent us some cool stuff. They gave us like that tray, like a bunch of like utensil type stuff and a couple other things. It's kind of cool.
Can you tell we're Disney shills? It's the only company that sends us anything. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? If they send out the good stuff, they'll get my vote, man. I did get a really cool box from Severance where it's a Lumon coffee mug, Lumon raisins, little thing of Lumon pretzels. It was so sinister. Made it look like the Lumon office. It's so cool.
Such a good show too. That's a rare combo where you get an amazing show and good merch on top too.
Exactly. Yes.
But before we reminder, we all stream Netflix September 20th. I just want to say quick, did you get any royalties from Everything Everywhere All at Once as they spoofed Ratatouille?
Yeah, they did. Rocky Cooney.
Come on.
That's your rights right there.
They did well. Luckily, they Weird Al'd us and called it Ratatouille, so they didn't know what anybody. They were able to dodge that.
One of the most brilliant laughs I've had in a a long time was Ratatouille.
Did you know about that going into it, or was that a?
No, I was invited to an early screening. Jamie Lee Curtis introduced it, and I'd heard because I'd loved their first movie, Swiss Army Man.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, let's go see this movie. Knew nothing about it, and then halfway through, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I was so happy.
That is unreal. Well, thank you so much again. We could spend hours with you, but check it out on Netflix. This was a blast. Well, we can't have a pandemic in between our next meeting.
Yes.
We'll just
No. And hopefully I'll be in New York in the spring. I'd love to actually be there in person. And
yes, absolutely.
Come in person. Great. We'll do a big nerdy movie and stuff, draft or something, rankings or something.
Yes, I would love it.
All right, you're on the books in the spring.
Doing that.
This spring, you'll be there.
I will do it.
We're doing that. We're doing that with Kevin Smith on Wednesday.
Yes.
So you'll be we'll do a follow-up, even nerdier thing in the spring.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be the bookend for it. That's beautiful. Okay, we'll do that.
Love it. Thank you so much. Check it out. Netflix, September 20th. Thank you.
Thank you. Great talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye, guys.